33.
Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich for August 16, 2023. We do have a full agenda, so we're going to jump right in. Clerk Tara, please get us into the meeting.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 4 p.m. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes. Yes.
Councillor Drewlard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hentz.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. Does council have any declaration of pecuniary interest? I see none. Council received in their agenda package the minutes of the previous meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? I see none. There being no corrections, the minutes are approved as distributed. The entry in the minutes would be the minutes of the meeting held July 19, 2023 were approved as distributed or presented. Clerk Tara, are there any items not listed on the agenda?
No.
Thank you. Number 5 on the agenda is Graham Scott Enns, our 2022 draft financial statement. Rob, come on up. And I'll just turn it over to you.
There we go. Okay. So I think we're gonna have them up on the screen as well. So if you go to our page 2, which is the independent auditors report. It's a couple pages down there, one more or two more, sorry. Yeah, right there is perfect. So this is our stamp, so to speak, on the financial statements. The financial statements are those of yourselves and management. This is our opinion on those financial statements. And this is what we call a non-qualified opinion. So that's an opinion that you're looking for. And I'll have to read the one paragraph here. In our opinion, the municipality's consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the municipality as at December 31st, 2022, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for public sector entities. So again, that is a non-qualified opinion, which is what you would be looking for. The next page is just a continuance of that same opinion, and they are dated as of today, assuming that they're approved today. We are required to audit up to the date of approval by council. Our next page is the balance sheet. So as mentioned in the auditor's report, these are consolidated, so they do include your proportionate share of water boards. So keep that in mind when we're going through the numbers. And we have comparatives for December 31st, 2021 as well. I'll highlight maybe some of the differences or items that we might want to have a quick chat about. So taxes receivable are up a little bit over the previous year, mostly on the current group of taxes. Could be a number of different reasons, but I guess the better news is that your over 1 year has not increased. So not a collection issue per se yet at this point. Accounts receivable, so those are items, water receivable, HST, the consolidating entities is about 600,000 in there. And grants receivable, there was a number of dollars related to capital projects that were still unreceived at December 31st, and that 2.3 million. So total financial assets of 3.1 million. On our liability side, so our bank advances with some of those projects and not receiving grants yet, you're into your temporary financing for a larger number than what we've seen in the past, a little over doubling our need there at the $1,076,000. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities, fairly common year over year or equal. There was some dollars for a water line, the capital for the water line on, I think it was Jordan line that hadn't been paid yet, which is why we're seeing it a little bit higher than in previous years. Would have been paid in January, as well as our normal trade payables would be included in those balances. Security deposits, not much change there. Deferred revenue, so those are items such as your gas tax, your OCFA funds, your building department surpluses, rec land. So those don't get included in income until you've realized on those funds. A little bit different than reserves. Basically, is their treatment that they're not brought into the they're still a liability until they've been utilized. And then our landfill closure liability. So there has been a report study done on those, and it continues to increase in costs based on that report. So small increase there. We did have 291,000 of new debt taken on in the year, and we repaid 495,000. So we're seeing a slight decrease overall in the debts, and we'll look at that a little closer when we get to our note 9. So our total liabilities of just over 7 million versus 6.4 the year before, which then reflects in our net financial debt. So we are at almost 4 million now versus the 3.3 the year before. As you recall, back in 2009 that we started setting up non-financial tangible capital assets. So we're at 36,715,000 there. So there was $2.148 million worth of additions. As we mentioned, that water line, as well as the major culvert on Ash Line, there's a fairly significance of dollar values in those two projects. And then we had booked amortization on all of the assets of $1,395,000. So when we net those two together, we're still seeing a slight increase from 35, almost 36 million up to 36.7 million. Not much changes in your inventories or prepaids or land inventory. So that brings us an accumulated surplus, 33 million. Again, that surplus includes the tangible capital assets, keeping that in mind. We'll also look in more detail at note 10 at what makes up that surplus of 33. On our next page is the statement of operations. So this, we have our budget numbers. We have actual for 2022, actual for 2021. But keeping in mind, these budgeted numbers have been what we call adapted for PSAB. So they do include depreciation. We have any transfers from reserves taken out of revenue. Any capital grants are included where applicable if they were budgeted for originally. And so that's why you're seeing at the bottom that it's not coming to a zero. You did budget for a zero under, we'll call it under a cash basis, but under the PSAB basis, it was actually a budgeted deficit of 838. So we look at actuals compared to budget. So obviously on the property taxes, we had the issue with the landfill, which as my understanding, everybody's aware of that one. User charges and other. So there were about $270,000 in sewer hookup revenues that weren't budgeted for. Those obviously were then flowed through the sewer surplus and into the reserves. But that is why we're seeing that difference, mostly in the user charges, a little bit on recreational side of things. Government transfers, so federal and provincial, those are specifically capital grants that weren't budgeted for. So they're not operating grants, but capital, and under the PSAB format, we do have to include those in revenues. So total revenues then of 11 million, roughly 11 million versus the 9.7 million that was budgeted for. Then we get into the expenses, general government. So we were a little over budget there. Part of that being the interest that you're paying and interest rates in general obviously gone up, but the interest you're paying on your short-term funding to fund some of those capital projects, as well as some software costs related to the eScribe. We're seeing roughly making up that overage in the general government. A little bit on the fire and police protection. There was some fire clothing and equipment, but we're fairly close to budget in that particular category. Other protective services are what we expected the building department to be doing. Didn't turn out to be, I guess, quite as active, and we're seeing a reduction there.
Is there a drainage in here?
Transportation services, so resurfacing, line painting came in quite a bit over budget from what was expected. And that's why we're seeing, for the most part, our differences there. Water and sewer, mostly related to the consolidated entities, being a little bit under budget there. Health services, so we had the issues related to the cemetery, as well as any sort of maintenances related to the medical building as well, making up our deficit there. And on the recreational cultural services, I mean, I think partly just, you know, when we look at year over year versus budget, you know, we had COVID impacts in the previous year where things had been shut down or not run. We're more in a full stream in 2022, and I think just some budgeting issues around that for the most part. And then agricultural, that's basically municipal drains. What we're seeing is costs there, and fairly close to budget. So overall, we did end up, when including the capital, we did end up with a slight surplus from a PSAB standpoint versus our expected deficit. Our next page is the net change in financial debt. So this is the continuity of that. So we had that $200,000 surplus. As I'd mentioned, we had acquisitions of tangible capital asset purchases of 2.15 million. And we had amortization booked, which is a non-cash. So we would add that back. So that basically resulted in a $600,000 increase in our net financial debt. Our next page is the statement of cash flows. So this is somewhat similar to financial debt, other than it encompasses the entire balance sheet. So this is taking us from an accrual back to a cash basis. So we generated roughly $1.5 million worth of cash over the year, down about $1 million from the previous year. We did invest some of that in our working capital, I guess we would call it. We spent close to the $2 million, a little over $2 million on capital activities, another $100,000 on repaying debt. So overall, we used $532,000 of cash in the year. To move along a little bit faster now, I'm going to move you all the way forward to our page 14, note 4. So zipping along. So this is our schedule for tangible capital assets. We have our opening balances at their original cost. We have any additions in the year by category, any disposals. And then below that is our accumulated amortization to date. So our opening amortization on the year, again, any disposals. And that's leaving us with the net book value at the end of the 36,715, sorry. The next page is the same thing for the previous year, so I won't touch on that. I think we can move forward to our page 18, note 9. So this is the long-term debt. So we're seeing, and I think the key thing sometimes here to look at is where is that debt recoverable from? whether it's from the tax rate or from more or less water or sewer. As you can see, roughly a 2/3, 1/3 being from the tax rate versus user charges. So that just again keeps in mind what tax or what ratepayer is going to be paying back that debt at the end of the day. One of the benefits that we did see with debt is that there was some opportunities to lock some of that in for a long time at some pretty good rates. As we go forward, I'm not sure we're going to see obviously those same opportunities going forward. So servicing that debt from an interest standpoint will be more significant and a bigger factor going forward. Our next page is our page 10. So this is a breakdown of that accumulated surplus. So, obviously you don't have 33 million extra kicking around. That's part of a normal operating surplus. We actually had a deficit on the year, somewhere close to 350,000, 380,000. Benefiting landowners, so that's the amounts to be recovered from, usually from municipal drains. And then we have our amount that's invested in the tangible capital assets, the 36 million. We have unfunded capital, so those are capital projects that have been on the books. Dollars have been incurred, but we haven't found whether it was supposed to be financed by debt when it was completed, or whether we haven't got a funding source yet. But that's come down from 500 down to 225. And our reserves are up from $1.2 million to $1,353,000, but the bulk of that relating to sewage and water, not tax related reserves. Those are pretty much, well, maybe we'll go to page 22, our note 15. It's nice to see sometimes just, what dollar values as we break down the entire budget, which ones are kind of fixed cost to you, and which ones are more, you might have some influence on. And really, for the most part, your materials are the ones that you have the most influence over. Obviously you do have some influence on salaries, but your materials and supplies are really the ones, when we think about it, if contracted services, a large chunk of that's probably going to be garbage and police, so not a lot of influence there. Really less than half of your budget is something that you can cut or have some influence on if you're trying to. It does make it in better perspective, I guess, in my opinion, just how hard it is to try to have major cuts or in a budget if that was something you're trying to do, right? Obviously the goal of all of the taxpayers out there is a zero or below, but in inflationary times, when you think about that's a zero on your entire budget, and if you can only influence less than half of it, it's a pretty big battle that you're trying to take on if you're looking to reduce or cut costs in any way, shape, or form. I think those are the main highlights I was trying to touch on. Obviously, I'm happy to take any questions related to the financial statements. There was also what we call our audit findings letter. So this is our stamp on the financial statements. The audit findings letter is our comments on basically internal controls, management, whether we had any issues, whether we asked to make journal entries, or whether we had any sort of conflicts, whether it was with accounting choices or estimates. So basically that's what we call a clean audit findings letter. We didn't find any, when we do our testing, we do sample testing to make sure that the controls are functioning as they're documented. We didn't find any issues there, and we didn't have any issues with management or Tracy on, if we had a journal entry we thought should be booked, she agreed, and so we didn't have any unbooked journal entries or anything to that effect.
Okay, thank you, Rob, for that audit report. Are there any questions from council at this time? I can't see Amaryllis on the screen at this time, but just speak up.
No, I'm good.
I think we're gonna let you off easy here, Rob.
Yeah, well, either means I did a good job or you're totally confused. Hopefully it's I did a good job, so.
You did. Tracy, do you have anything to add to this report?
All good.
Yep.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I believe, Secretary, you have a resolution for that.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulart, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich accepts the draft financial statement prepared by Graham Scott and LLP. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulart,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes,
And that's carried.
thank you. Number 6 on the agenda, our Public Works Department. Murray, you're in the hot seat. Come on up. We'll just go through item A. Manager of Roads and Facilities Monthly Report. Council has an opportunity to review that over the weekend. Are there any questions or comments from that report? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulart, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Manager of Roads and Facilities titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023, for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulart,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes,
And that's carried.
thank you. Item B is the Walnut Line closure. We've had Murray's report. Are there any questions from council for Murray? Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Just a quick one, Murray, will we have to do anything with the turnaround there, or is there something there that we can actually turn around and get
Well,
back the other direction?
Mr. Chinnery, as part of his building permit originally had to put a turnaround in the end. So yes, we'd be utilizing a bit of private property to turn around. But it's probably a bigger spot than what's currently there down by the bridge. That section of road has been almost impossible to maintain for the last 20 some years or since the bridge blew out. So it's actually going to be safer because it's not near as prone to flooding up there at the top of the hill as well. And I mean, we can probably, work a little bit on the north side of the road to make a little bit more of a turnaround as well. And we will post it accordingly as well.
Anything else from council on that item? I have one question. Murray, I know you've done some work from where we originally stopped traffic and don't service it. Or you did that work up to Mr. Chinnery's property. Is there any change in that length of the road that you plan on?
We did actually spread some gravel past Mr. Chinnery's down to the bottom because the biggest thing is with this, I don't want to, I want to retain the ownership of the property because it is part of the Trans-Canada Trail. And we have done some prep work, which should make it last a lot better. We have one more lift of gravel to put on the entire length of Walnut Line in that area. We have to do it unfortunately with our own trucks because Johnson Brothers with their large tractor trailers cannot function down in there. So it's just been time and manpower and getting it, getting it spread in there. We did get one lift in, but we need to put a second lift in all the way from Homestead right to Mr. Chinnery's.
Okay, and just follow up, are you going to have 12-month service on that section of the road up to Mr. Chinnery?
Well, currently council had made the resolution, we would go as far as Ian Scott's with a little bit more finesse. And I mean, that's up to the will of council. If you wish us to continue right to Mr. Chinnery's, he does have, like I say, a turnaround there that the grader should be able to utilize. It's not going to be ideal, but it would be able to be used if council wishes to go to that limit.
Is roads prepared to do that?
We'll do as instructed, Mr. Mayor.
Politically correct. Okay, we'll deal with that at another time. Any other questions on Walnut Line? Oh, Councillor Drulard.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Murray, that road is what class 4? That road?
At best,
Yeah. So the standard for that would be, it'd be outside of 72 hours, even if you did add it onto your, or would it even?
exactly. It would we would never let it get to the point of that classification because it's just, it gets included with the rest of the snow plowing because it only makes sense to hit it while we're going by. So it would
Right.
be all utilized at the same time with the road grader. When it comes and does Aaron Line, it will just go around the corner and do Homestead and Walnut at the same time.
Okay, I just not to put it into something that was going to be unmanageable for you. So that was
No,
my.
it won't be, that section of road won't be maintained any differently than it has been in the past. It's always been included in the entire south route with the road grader and would continue to do so.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any further questions on the Walnut Line issue? I see none. Clerk Tara, resolution, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the manager of roads and facilities titled Walnut Line Closure dated August 16th, 2023 for information, and that council instructs staff to commence the road closure process for this section of road. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drulard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. Item C, Homestead Road and Walnut Line speed limit change. Everyone has had an opportunity to see Murray's report. And are there any questions of council on that? You see none. Any comments, Murray? Further comments?
The biggest thing is basically according to Highway Traffic Act, all roads are 80 kilometers unless otherwise posted. And without a bylaw, we could never post that road to anything else. So what I'm seeking is to lower the speed limits in there due to visibility and the hills and the grades involved down to a 40. I think it's for the motoring public, it's a lot safer. We are seeing more traffic. We have a lot of new residents in the municipality as well. And I think and being part of the walking trail as well, I think it just makes common sense. And, like it's just, we have to have a bylaw to put those signs up.
Homestead right from Talbot Line, you're proposing this speed limit?
Be it from Talbot Line right through to Iona Road. So it would encompass even down over the new bridge and everything down in the bottom. And then Walnut Line from Homestead right to Mr. Chinnery's residence. That's going to be still the open section of the road.
Okay. Councillor Drulard.
Murray, that won't entail the other side of Walnut that comes out off of Willie's.
I didn't include that in that just because of the amount of we don't have the hills to deal with on that. We do have some curves in there, past Mr. Barfoot's.
Yeah.
But I didn't include it in this because we do have that solid separation of the lack of a bridge.
Okay, perfect. I just a question to make sure what sections you were. I was just clarifying what sections you were pertaining to.
Yep, it would be Walnut Line from Homestead Line to Mr. Chinnery, so the eastern portion of it, east of the creek.
Perfect, thank you.
Anything further from council? Resolution, please, Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the manager of roads and facilities titled Homestead Road and Walnut Line Speed Limit Change dated August 16th, 2023 for information, and that council instructs staff to bring back a bylaw to reduce the speed limit from the current 80 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour and instruct staff to install applicable signage. Councillor Pemberton?
Yes.
Councillor Drulard?
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland?
Yes.
Mayor Hens?
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. Item D, Lakeview Line speed limit change. We've all seen Murray's report. Anything further to add, Murray?
Just the biggest thing is years ago, council passed a bylaw, and I believe that was at the request of Canada Post to change the speed limit in the section, well, from Joe's place down through the hill to 60 kilometers an hour. And I feel it would make more sense if we lowered the speed limit to the 60 kilometers an hour right from Curry Road, right through to Coyne Road. Again, we've got newer residences, we've got that whatever they're building on the corner of Lakeview and Coyne as well, which we're seeing different people coming through. We have more bicycles, you know, we're getting a lot more active community. So again, it would just create a safer travel zone because people sometimes miss that 60K that's partway through the block. This way here, it's right at the corner. It should be a little bit easier for the motoring public to understand.
Anything from council? Councillor Dreyfus.
Has there been consideration, setting the speed limit right from Bingo Line to Coyne Road? Or was there any need for that, do you think? Or especially we have Bacchus Page, we have the church and everything there that are fairly heavily tourist.
And again, council, you know, could instruct me that way. I felt that from Fingal Line to Bacchus Page, the gravel road tends to slow some of, especially people that aren't familiar with the area, it tends to slow them down because they see the gravel and they're not so used to it. With the tar and chip portion west of Curry Road, it's almost like an open invitation to see how fast you can go down through the curves. So I hadn't included it in that, and we do have that one section of County Road from Curry Road to the end of the pavement by, well, Camp Little John. That would have to be, we'd have to go through county council to get that one.
Anything further? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, resolution, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the manager of roads and facilities titled Lakeview Line Speed Limit Change, dated August 16th, 2023 for information, and that council instructs staff to bring back a bylaw to reduce the speed limit on Lakeview Line from Curry Road to Coyne Road from the current 80 kilometers per hour to 60 kilometers per hour, and instruct staff to install applicable signage. Councillor Pemberton?
Yes.
Councillor Drewlard?
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland?
Yes.
Mayor Hens?
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. That was easy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Murray. Item 7 is the Water Department Water Operations Manager Monthly Report. Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Excuse me, Mayor, but maybe I thought we could go down and do drainage. It's after 4:15, and then we
If-
want to sit and listen to us for a
If
couple
council's
hours.
okay with changing the agenda? Okay, I see everybody nodding their heads. Thank you for that. Let's find their agreement. We'll go right to item B then on our drainage, which is the meeting to consider the engineer's report on the Leach McCann drain. Our apologies, we're about 15 minutes late. So Clerk Tara, resolution to get us into that meeting.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Leach McCann drain opens at 4:33 p.m. Councillor Pemberton?
Yes.
Councillor Drewlard?
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland?
Yes.
Mayor Hens?
Yes.
And that's carried.
Okay. This is the meeting to consider the report for the Leach McCann drain dated July 11, 2023, that was submitted to council by the engineer John Spreet of Spreet Associates. The purpose of this meeting is to allow landowners and other affected parties to be given the opportunity to voice their concerns relating to any aspect of this report. I would ask that any affected parties present, please make us aware of your attendance now for the record. Clerk Tara, do we have a sign-in sheet there?
There is a sign-in sheet in front of the TV.
Okay, thank you. Matters dealing specifically with assessments, including where any land or road has been assessed too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed but has not been, or the land use was not duly considered, will be dealt with by the Court of Revision at a date to be determined after the passing of a provisional bylaw. Was everyone notified of this meeting to consider the report of the engineer in an appropriate way that were required to be notified under the Drainage Act?
Yes, on July 24th, 2023, all landowners and affected parties required to be notified under Section 42 of the Drainage Act were sent by regular mail notice of the date and time and location of this meeting. The notice included a copy of the report of the engineer for the Leach McCann drain dated July 11th, 2023.
Thank you. I would ask that Engineer John Spreet present his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight's meeting is the consideration of the Leach McCann drain. It's an existing municipal drain. It was constructed in 1963. It's in poor condition and needs to be replaced. So what we're proposing to do is extend the drain a bit to the other side of Largy Road and do some work on the west side of Largy Road. We'll install some riprap to better control the water. And then construct a new closed drain from Largy Road across it through the Nezick lands, to the Van Dam lands, just to the lands of Carl McLeod and Sons. It's a tile drain. It's a 21-inch tile at the bottom end and works its way up to a 10-inch tile at the very top end. We're also proposing to reconstruct branch A, which goes from the main drain and heads west towards the McWilliam lands. Are there any questions?
Great. Council, any questions? I see none. Do any landowners or affected parties have any questions or concerns? Nothing?
Know what it's going to cost, or what is this what we're constructing?
That'll come a little later, Carl.
I was just told to get here. First day, yeah.
Everybody's good then. You have a resolution prepared, Clerk Tara?
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich will provisionally adopt bylaw 2023-43 during this meeting. Sorry, Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drewlard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. The clerk will be mailing a copy of bylaw 2023-51 provisionally passed tonight to all landowners and affected parties as required by Section 46 of the Drainage Act. The Court of Revision for the Leach McCann drain will be held on September 27, 2023 at 5:15 p.m. Any owner of land assessed for the drainage works may appeal to the Court of Revision on any of the following grounds. Any land or road has been assessed an amount that is too high or too low. Any land or road that should have been assessed has not been assessed. Due consideration has not been given to the use being made of the land. By written notice setting out the grounds of the appeal at least 10 days before the first sitting of the Court of Revision to the Chief Administrative Officer Clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And further, under Section 48 of the Drainage Act, any owner or land or any public utility affected by a drainage works may appeal to the tribunal on other aspects of this drainage works, and in every case, a notice of appeal shall be served within 40 days of the mailing of the provisional bylaw with the clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. A fact sheet titled Drainage Act Appeals, the forms required to file an appeal with regards to this drain are available on the OMAFRA website and upon request at the municipal office. If you have any questions regarding this drain or any other municipal drain in the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, please contact our drainage superintendent, Brent Clutterbuck at the municipal office. Okay. Clerk Darrell?
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Leach McCann drain closes at 4:39 PM. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes,
Mayor Hent.
Yes,
And that's carried.
thank you. Let's stay on drainage and then we'll go back if council's okay with that. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna skip back up to A, the drainage superintendent's monthly report. Brent's not here. I think he's still holidaying, which is much deserved. Is there any questions from council or comments on that report? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfelt, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
yes,
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Okay. We're gonna go to C. We're gonna receive the engineer's report on the Lucas drain. That was part of the agenda package. Does council have any questions or concerns on that report? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the engineer's report for the Lucas drain and instructs the clerk to notify everyone required to be notified under section 41 of the Drainage Act of its intention to proceed with the drain, and that council hold a meeting to consider the engineer's report at the council meeting scheduled for September 13th, 2023 at approximately 5:15 PM. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes,
And that's carried.
thank you. Now, I think we were at number 7, the water department. The water operations manager monthly report. Are there any questions or comments from council on that one? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Dreyfelt, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the water operations manager titled Monthly Activity Report, August 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes,
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Number 8, wastewater operator monthly report. Any questions or comments on that one? Go ahead, Councillor Dreyfus.
It's a standard 130% capacity, I guess. So until we find funding, I guess, we're gotta figure that part out.
It's like a weather report after the fact. Anything, other comments? I see none. Tracy, did you want to just make mention of where Dylan is after a conversation, just briefly?
Now we've been told this before, but the EA should be finished up at the end of this week. Had gone to senior management for the finals. I've got a meeting with Brom on Friday to discuss his final recommendations on what type of expansion we should be doing, what kind of we want to do that new what's the word I want to say software. That's not the word I'm looking for. Technology. But I'll believe it when I see it. I'm they're a little, I don't know if they're overworked or what, but it's even getting back to them for my asset management plan is hard these days, so. Anyways, I will know more on Friday, about where we're at, so.
Okay, thank you. It's relevant to this report, that we're all concerned about. We're working on it and hopefully, Councilor Dreyfus, you're going to attend AMO and the two of us will approach the Minister of Infrastructure and we should have something in our hand when we get there. So,
Yeah, I think I think we need to be able to tell them that the EA is complete, but we're not in a position to go any further without some kind of support. So, I don't think that we need to be shovel ready because I think we need to let them know that we can't even afford to be shovel ready at this point. So, I think they need to know how dire it really is for us here. So.
Just a question, what are options for financing? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, like what, if it gets to the point where we need to move forward, what are our options?
Well, there's
I don't
always-
see any.
There's always the infrastructure, Ontario, where you can get the loans, or they're usually better rates than, but I mean, at this point, I don't know what the rates are gonna come in at because they can only do so much as well. The problem is our debt capacity. So it's gonna be a bit of a Rubik's Cube, I think, fitting all this in and getting all the pieces together. So.
Councilor Pemberton.
Yeah, and I guess my one question to that too is with the EAA and with the expansion and everything else, what are we doing to fix our underlying problem of the infiltration? Realistically, we're operating at 75, 80% on a dry month and 130% on a wet month. I think
Well, I did
that's
read.
got to be addressed.
Yeah, and I did reach out to Aqua because I'd like them to do some smoke tests and things to see if we can find out if there's other problems. It's just timing and trying to get the equipment, and everything down here. Like I talked to Robin today, actually, just a coincidence. And they also have to do when it's dry. So she's thinking more in the fall. But I would like to know before I can get costing, I need to know, are we interested in the whole municipality or just the new, like a certain area where we might think we're getting some infiltration? That would be, I'm gonna need to let her know that as well before I can finish up and get some costing, so.
Go ahead. Councilor Pemberton.
Yeah, and actually, I would say I asked Ken a little bit or yourself a little bit more about that because I'm sure there's been work done in the past to try and figure this out. So I don't think I'm equipped to say that's the direction you should go until we know what other stuff has already been looked at, because I'm sure it's been looked at.
Yeah, I don't think that the problem really was very noticeable at all until the new subdivision went in on Leach Street. I've looked at the the information that Archie has on the SCADA, and I can't understand it. So I think that's where they should start first, is to get that information and take a look at it and see if they can indicate which pumping station has the biggest flow during the wet period of time. That would give us a clue of where we need to go. So Greek to me. So.
And that's kind of what I said to Robin this morning. I thought we were just gonna start with some of the newer areas to see if we can maybe pinpoint why we're getting the flows we're getting. So I can get back to her on that. And then she can come up with a game plan on getting that machine down here and get me, obviously give me the costing first, because if it's gonna be crazy, we might have to rethink it, but done.
Councilor Drulard.
Hi, thanks through you. I'm just wondering if Archie could actually just give us, because he understands that information, if he could give us where to start. Might as well go to the expert and ask him, like our in-house expert, and ask him, where do we start? Because I'm sure he has an idea. That's just my thinking.
Yeah, for sure. I will work with Archie and Aqua on this before we decide on anything, but I just wanted to get council's thoughts on what they really thought we should be testing for tonight anyway, so.
I know it was a few years ago, I believe Archie did some work with a camera in areas that were suspicious, so we could speak to him about that. We did look into it. We didn't do an extensive look, but some work has been done. Anything further on that? That's the number one priority in this municipality right now. We all know it, and we got to work the problem through. If nothing further, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the wastewater operator titled Monthly Activity Report dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. Number 9, our building department, the monthly building activity report. Any comments or questions from council on that? Councilor Dreyfus.
Yeah, just noting that the building permits are down substantially, and we knew that was going to happen with the economic situation the way it is, but just wondering the impact on the cost of the municipality. Is Jackie keeping busy? Yeah, I mean, she appears to be, but I'm just asking the question if we should note some concerns here, so.
I don't know if we have any concerns. I know she is keeping busy, but she's also in a position now where she can actually take her vacation and everything, whereas the last few years she couldn't. But hoping that it does pick up again, because obviously our budget's not quite on where we thought it would be. Year's not up, but right now I think we are in a deficit of a little bit in the building department for year end. So, but hoping it picks up. So,
Councilor Pemberton.
Are there any building department reserves from previous years?
yes, we've been building those up in the last couple of years. So, yeah.
So typically it would come from that in a slow year, so it should be impact.
Separate fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything further? I think last year was maybe the first year we had a surplus in our building department.
Mhm.
So we may get back to normal, Councilor Dreyfus. Okay, if nothing further on that, resolution, please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the chief building official titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Question for Clerk Tara. Does it make any sense to adjust our agenda again? I see we have Amy here, and what are your thoughts on?
That would be up to all of council.
I'll get thoughts of council on that. I'm asking you if we should, to accommodate Amy, adjust the agenda again. If I could just get
I'm okay.
some nods.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
I'm with that. Yep.
Okay. Councilor Drulard, you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to do that, but Amy's report, I believe, is a closed item agenda. So let's deal with that, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the council for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 4:53 PM in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act SO 2001, Chapter 25, for discussion of the following matters. A, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, section 2392E of the Municipal Act for the OLT appeal. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
and that's carried. I just need one moment to lock us up.
Okay, and we'll just close everything up here and
You're right.
does anyone need a break? Or do you want to march on? Okay. I am told that we're on number 10, the fire chief
11.
monthly report.
If you change it on.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
It's 11.
oh, I got 10 in on mine.
11A.
I got 10-8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to move one around, so.
Okay,
Okay, just go.
so it wasn't all my fault?
No,
Okay,
Not my fault either.
no, it's my fault.
I just assume I screwed up every time, so.
Me too. I always spend on therapy.
Everyone had a chance to see our fire chief's monthly report. Is there any questions or comments? I see none. There is a lot happening at the fire department, Councillor Drulard. If you care to make any comments?
No comments other than Chief Shul has a vision going forward, and he just keeps moving things forward for the betterment of our department.
I agree. Everything I see, I very much am impressed with. So if nothing further, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Fire Chief titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drulard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Okay, we're going to go to number 12, our Recreation Department Recreation Monthly Activity Report. Any questions or comments from council? A lot going on there as well. So if no further comments, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Recreation and Administration titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drulard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
On to 13, the correspondence. Item A is the Township of Archipelago call for housing and protection of water resources. Anyone here to comment or discuss that one? I see no one stepping forward. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Township of the Archipelago requesting that the Province of Ontario continue working with the municipalities and municipal organizations on the implementation of Bill 23 and other housing initiatives to identify a range of solutions that will address the lack of attainable and affordable housing in the province while building new housing units in a sustainable manner that is consistent with the provincial and municipal mandates of keeping people and property safe from natural hazards and protecting the health of our essential freshwater resources. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Township of the Archipelago. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drulard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Thank you. B, Elgin County, the Elgin Group Police Services Agreement. Everyone's had a chance to look at that, and I know that's been in front of the CAO's meetings as well. It's been in front of county council.
I have a report on that as well.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that correspondence item 13B from Elgin County be received and filed. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drulard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Item C, Municipality of Chatham-Kent Time for Change, Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. I don't know whether staff want to comment on that. They're more involved, or this stuff comes to staff. Any comments or?
I would just comment that they've got a couple of good updates just coming. They just need to look at the MFIPA for a little bit.
Council, anything on that one? Resolution, please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drillard, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the Municipality of Chatham-Kent requesting the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services to review MFIPA and consider recommendations as follows: that MFIPA assign the municipal clerk or designate to be the head under the Act, that MFIPA be updated to address current and emerging technologies, that MFIPA regulate the need for consistent routine disclosure practices across institutions, that the threshold for frivolous and or vexatious actions be reviewed and take into consideration the community and available resources in which it's applied, that the threshold for frivolous and or vexatious also consider the anonymity of requesters, their abusive nature, and language in requests to ensure protection from harassment as provided for in the Occupational Health and Safety Act, that the application and scalability of fees be designed to ensure taxpayers are protected from persons abusing the access to the information process, that administrative practices implied or required under the Act, including those of the IPC, be reviewed and modernized, that the integrity of the Act be maintained to protect personal privacy and transparent governments, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, the Municipality of Chatham-Kent, and the Municipality of South Huron. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drillard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hentz.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Item D, Township of Puslinch, Bill 3, Special Powers and Duties of Heads of Council. Any comments on that? I don't anticipate the mayor of Dutton Dunwich getting special powers, so just so you know.
You know, mind.
If nothing further, resolution please, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, whereas the Government of Ontario, through the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, has introduced Bill 3, which is described as an act to amend various statutes with respect to special powers and duties of heads of council, and that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolutions of the Township of Pushlintz and Municipality of Shania, petitioning the Government of Ontario that these changes to the Municipal Act 2001 are unnecessary and will negatively impact the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, that if the Ontario government deems these changes necessary in large single-tier municipalities such as Toronto and Ottawa, that such changes should not be implemented in smaller municipalities, that the Ontario government should listen to concerns raised by associations such as AMO and AMCTO, that if the stated goal of this legislation is to construct more housing in Ontario, that this can be accomplished through other means, including amendment of the Planning Act and funding of more affordable housing. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, the town of Puslinch, and the municipality of Shania. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drillard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hentz,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Item E, Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, amended regulations under EA Act and updated requirements for waste management and electricity projects. Any questions or comments from council on that item? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that correspondence item 13E from the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks be received and filed. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drillard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hentz.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Okay, another one.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Okay, on to 14, the consent agenda. There is an A and B part of that. We're gonna lump them all together. Any discussion on any one of those items? We're all good?
Yeah, just make a comment.
Yeah.
Just reading through the city of Toronto comments and proposed provincial planning statement. There's a lot of really good comments in there that, you know, we could probably leverage ourselves because I think they're facing the same issues with infrastructure and the demands that the province is putting on, you know, like just in housing, right? And so I think it's worth the read and it's worth noting some of the comments, just a general statement. So just reading through it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think every municipality, no matter how big or small, is feeling the same pressures.
Right.
Anything else from council? Okay, Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfelt, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Okay, item 16 is our clerk's report. And questions or comments or anything further, Clerk Terry, you want to wish to add?
None at this time. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Apparently not. Resolution, please, Clerk Terry.
Moved by Dreyfelt, seconded by Drewlard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023 for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
And item B is a bylaw to regulate the use of off-road vehicles in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And I'm just going to have Clerk Terry just comment on the reason this is in front of us right tonight.
So originally in answer to some ATVs in Dutton Dunwich and some changes to the Highway Traffic Act, we did put this bylaw into place, but it was for a 2-year period. We did renew it when we chose to take off the requirement that there be a club. So it is open to anybody now, but there is a map on there and there are still certain areas within Dutton Dunwich that you can't drive an ATV. So that period has expired now. I did reach out to the OPP to try and get some numbers as to whether they're having any issues within Dutton Dunwich. But they're not able to separate that from other vehicles. It's just a charge underneath the Highway Traffic Act. But they couldn't recall any off the top of their head, and I did speak to about 3 different people. So we do get the odd complaint in the office that somebody's in town on an ATV, but we haven't had any actual bylaw complaints.
Anything from council on that item? I see none. I think it's been a success, in my opinion. In the general, they've been well behaved. They know their responsibilities. Whether we have the bylaw or not, you're going to get those that will disobey it anyway. So if no further comments, resolution, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Bylaw to Regulate the Use of Off-Road Vehicles in the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich dated August 16th, 2023 for information, and that council directs staff to prepare a bylaw for the next meeting of council. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drewlard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfelt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Okay, item 16, our CAO treasurer is in the hot seat. Item A is
As usual.
her monthly activity report. Any questions or?
I just have an update on the server. Dan should have it up and running next week, so our new server will be active, and he wanted me to let you know that he's gonna be getting back to you soon with that offsite backup storage that we were discussing. Other than that, just working on, well, the audit can come off and we can start the budget process. That'll be next. Working on cleaning up people's job descriptions so that we can then make a proper org chart. And you know, everything else, the grant reporting, the asset management, the everything else. So is there any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
I see no questions. Oh, Deputy Mayor Loveland.
No, I was getting ready to vote.
He wants to go home.
Clerk Tara, please. We better get on this.
It's a speed round. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Monthly Activity Report, July 2023, dated August 16th, 2023, for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Droulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dryfout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland,
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Item B is the Elgin Group Policing Agreement. Everyone's had a chance to look at that. And comments, questions? I see none. I believe the interim CAO from the county will be coming to everyone for a signature on the document.
I believe they've been sent to us for signatures.
They'll be going around.
Oh, I thought there was an email that came that it was attached to. Okay, I'll double check. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If no questions on that one, we're not looking at, I was concerned about increases, but they're not terrible.
No.
Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dryfout, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Elgin Group Policing Agreement dated August 16th, 2023 for information, and that council approve the current Ontario Provincial Police OPP agreement be approved for an additional 2 years, and that council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the 2-year extension. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Droulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dryfout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Item C is the operational budget to actual. Everyone has had a chance to look at it. Questions for our CAO treasurer? Any comments? Tracy, anything further?
Yeah, nope, things are looking okay for now.
I always ask this, anything keeping you up at night?
Nope, everything's good.
Okay. We're good. Clerk Tara, resolution, please.
Moved by Dryfout, seconded by Droulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled July 31st, 2023, operational budget to actual dated August 16th for information. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Droulard,
Yes.
Counselor Dryfout,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens.
Yes.
And that's carried.
Item 18, any unfinished business? Nothing from staff? Nothing from council? Okay. 18, new business. Anybody got anything? See anything? And 19 is announcements, and Tracy,
Yep.
you are going to give us an
Yeah,
update.
just want to let council know the medical center date expected for the meeting will be brought to the next meeting due to summer holidays and things. So,
And that is taking longer than you anticipated, and it's frustrating.
yes.
Okay.
Very.
I have an announcement, and I mentioned it to Deputy Mayor Loveland. With the Volkswagen plant and the transportation or roads, there is an open house in Talbotville on Thursday evening from 5 to 8. The proposed new infrastructure, highways, roads that they're proposing to service this thing and the north end of St. Thomas. It's at the United Church in Talbotville. It's an open house from 5 to 8. I hope to be able to get there. It's an interesting situation, what's going on here.
Oh,
So just out there, feel free to drop in. You know, you're probably well
what
aware
was
of
the
that.
date?
Or Councillor Pemberton,
What was the date? Tomorrow?
tomorrow evening. So if you're in that area, just pop in, and I'm sure there's drawings and maps and stuff. Anyway, interesting times.
Some of the rules they proposed are crazy.
Any other announcements? I see none, and we're done with 20. We are down to bylaws. Clerk Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that bylaw 2023-44 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation in the amount of $690,000 for the construction of the Allen McCollum and Gordon Little Drain be read a third time and passed. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
We just kept.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
or Counselor Drewlard, sorry, Counselor Dreyfus. now?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hentz,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Does anybody in this room know CPR? Carry on, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewlard, that bylaw 2023-49 being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an amending agreement with His Majesty the King in the right of Ontario as represented by the Solicitor General for the provision of police services for the Elgin Group municipalities be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes, I waited my turn this time.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hentz.
Yes.
And that's carried. Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2023-51 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich in the amount of $142,000 for the improvement of the Leach McCann drain be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted, and that the Court of Revision be held on September 27, 2023 at approximately 5:15 p.m. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hentz.
Yes.
And that's carried. Would you like me to confirm?
Please do.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2023-50 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Counselor Pemberton,
Yes.
Counselor Drewlard,
Yes.
Counselor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hentz,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Okay, in September, we're back to business as usual. The meeting dates and the time are there. Council have anything further? We're good? And go ahead,
Just,
Councillor Drewlin.
yes, just one thing. September 27th, that is the Craft Hockeyville Day. I don't know whether because I'm thinking that we may all be invited to that. That starts at 4 p.m. Do we want to look at a different date? Because we're a part of that.
Deputy Mayor Loveland, you just were at a board meeting. You maybe have more information than the rest of us.
Not a lot more because that's really not the arena board that's involved. It's minor hockey, but I never really thought about it. I maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing to change it. If we haven't got anything already booked yet, or have we?
We do have 2 drainage meetings set for that date. I'd have to check with Brent whether the timelines are okay to send out a new notice, changing it to a different date or not.
Like the day, you think it's the day before? Like the day before or the day, like, do we move it to the Tuesday or the Thursday or you want it off a week? Like
That's
yeah,
what-
you're not around, so yeah.
Just, I think maybe the day before there's the community celebration. I'm not sure of the dates. So, I mean, just because we will be a part of that as a municipality, I would think that it might be important that we be there in representation. But the day after, why not? If it's possible to move it.
Okay, can we leave this in staff's hands? They have to look into a couple of drainage matters and see if it's doable. And you could maybe let us know as soon as possible, Clerk Tara.
Yep.
Will that work, Councillor Drouillard?
Yeah, I just know that was probably something that we hadn't thought about, but the date popped in my head as soon as I saw it. So just thought I'd see what we could do. So that
Okay.
worked for me. Thanks.
Thank you. Are you suggesting we're all going to get hockey tickets to the game?
I can't suggest anything. I don't know anything for sure because there's a gag order, but anything that would be happening, I'm thinking we'll know within the next couple of weeks. So I can't confirm or deny anything.
What about the possibility?
That's a true politician.
What about the possibility of earlier in the day for the meeting, but at Marilys is probably working? Would you be working, would it work earlier in the day, Marilys?
We still have to.
I may have some obligations to the NHL on that day earlier in the day. Probably taking that day off. I can't confirm or deny anything.
I think it still wouldn't affect the drain meeting anyways, right?
Yes. So
Okay, staff's going to do their homework on this one and we'll come up with a solution.
we'll do what we can do, right?
Okay.
So I just appreciate that you'll look into it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything further? Last resolution, clerk?
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drouillard, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 5:48 PM. Councillor Pemberton,
Yes.
Councillor Drouillard,
Yes.
Councillor Dreyfus,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yes.
Mayor Hens,
Yes.
and that's carried.
Thank you, everyone. I'm amazed we got through in less than 2 hours.
That's good.
We had quite an agenda, so thank you for doing your homework and everything went smooth.
Enjoy the rest of your holidays.
Yeah, have fun out
Have
there,
fun.
Mouse.
Thanks. I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.